Selamat pagi and good morning to all attendees. Welcome to our 5th ABRA International Conference, Malaysian Conference on Environment-Behaviour Studies, AQoL2021 Langkawi Island, 15th December 2021. I am Dr. Nimasturani Muhammad. And I will be the MC for this event. We are grateful that today's conference is being organized and scheduled. Thank you for participating into this meeting. And I apologize if there are any inconvenience throughout the session. We now call upon the conference chair, Prof. Dr. Welcome. Please.
Assalamualaikum, everybody. Thank you very much for your time and to participate in our 35th conference. Okay, and I just would like to touch a few things within my 5 minutes speech here. First of all, is regarding the hashtag GC2021. Most of you by now have known that the initiative is actually to internationalize all our publications. Yeah. So why are we doing this? We are doing this because it is important, especially for indexing bodies like Scopus. Yeah. Our EDPJ is actually indexed in WOS, yeah, Web of Science. Okay, but our journals, all our journals are not indexed yet by WOS or Scopus. Yeah, our journals are only indexed in the Science Open only. Okay, now we have actually tried our journal JABS to be indexed in Scopus. However, their remarks, yeah, they turned down because one of the reasons is actually because of the authors. Yeah, not enough international authors, because we claim that it is an international journal, right? But the authors wise, okay, so the comment was there, right? So JABS was the first journal we tried, okay? So the other 3 journals we are upgrading now before we go for our another round, right, to Scopus, right? So that's why it's very important for the hashtag Game Changer 2021, whereby all papers to be published must be internationalized, meaning at least one of the author must be from non-Malaysian authors. Okay, so that's why we have to do this initiative, and that's why you have to pay a heavy fine, because for this conference, yeah, for AQoL Langkawi is 50% of the registration fees, and for Penang it will be 75%. If you don't have an international author, right? So we have to use the cane in a way, right? Because only then we are getting. Alhamdulillah, it was a big gamble for us actually, because we know that it's going to be a problem, but kita tak menjadi jago kampung, right? We have been in the business since 2009, yeah, back more than 10 years, yeah, and we are still at that level, tak beranjak, yeah. So it was a big gamble for GC2021 because we know that we will not be getting any or many papers because of that. But Alhamdulillah, yeah, Alhamdulillah, you all took the challenge, yeah. In the Timah was the first hashtag GC2021. We did have the normal amount of papers. Maknanya our gamble pays off, yeah. It's actually not only for the indexing, but it's also good for you as authors, because you all also would like to publish and especially a Scopus index. So it's actually help us to help you sort of situation. Okay, and we have to penalize for those yang nak publish, yeah, also publish, but then again, you know, lacking we actually have tried our best to help you out with the co-author, international co-authors. Okay, if you go to the conference website, okay, we have listed potential international co-authors, whereby if you do not know anybody abroad, you just get in touch with any of the suggested or proposed co-authors, Okay, and of course you have to let them know that you are actually they are co-authoring the papers. You need their permission. Okay, you just cannot use their name and you just send your paper without them knowing. That is not the right way. Okay, so I hope for those who are still looking for international co-authors, go to the website. Okay, we have the list, Excel, and it's so easy to get in touch with them, because we have also listed their areas of interest, research areas of interest. Okay, please do that. And regarding your ISC reviews, inshallah you will be getting it within today. Okay, and finally, we expect technical glitches when we do hybrid. So please bear with us. That's why we do not have our keynote speaker today. Because from Thingy's experience, okay, when we had technical glitches, okay, it affected the time, and it affected the timing for the keynote speaker who is from Venice. Okay, now we cannot move the keynote speaker's time, because during that time she also has another engagement. Okay, so that's why we decided that to push the keynote speaker's speech towards 1 week later from now, during our Best Paper Award announcement. So I hope you will bear with us. The technical glitches. We are trying to minimize the situation, and hopefully you enjoy the conference. Okay, right? So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof. Yusuf, for your public speech. And now, for the opening speech, we are most honored to invite our Dean, who is also the conference advisor, TPR Dr. Jamalullah. Please. Thank you, Prof.
Again, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone. Thank you very much to Prof. Yusuf for inviting me to give welcoming remarks to all the participants. Okay, and heartiest congratulations to Prof. Yusuf and the team, and as well as keynote speakers, paper presenters, and participants, and basically the whole group of people who are currently in Langkawi as well as online around the world. For the AQoL2021 Langkawi Island, Malaysia. So this is the 5th ABRA International Conference on the Quality of Life at Holiday Villa Langkawi. Okay, for 2 days. Okay, so this is like the 35th International Conference organized by AMER, ABRA, and SEPS, FSPU, UITM. And 30th congratulations, Prof. Yusuf. So big round of applause for Prof. Yusuf and the team. Excellent work and consistent excellent work. And 35th conferences is really, to me, it's mind-boggling that you're able to sustain it all until now. Because my experience, I managed like to organize 2 conferences, and it was really tiring. Okay, it's also the second hybrid conference after conference in Bukit Tinggi. In March of this year, and my apology, I'm unable to join the group in Langkawi this time. The last one I joined was like 2 years ago, just before PKP. Okay, and for this conference, there were 50 approved abstracts, majority of which was contributed by presenters in Malaysia. And as like mentioned by Prof. Yusuf just now, the paradigm shift, the game changer, we like to have co-authorship with paper presenters, with authors from other countries. So basically, was told by Prof. Yusuf that the countries that co-authored with Malaysia authors from Indonesia, there are 14 of them, UK 11, Japan, Saudi Arabia 3 each, China 2 paper, and 1 each from Brunei, Iraq, Italy, Thailand, Turkey, and United Arab Emirates. So Okay, there's a big improvement compared to the previous conferences. So we start to have this international collaboration. So in addition, Indonesia co-authored with Italy, while single countries were contributed by Saudi Arabia and Thailand. So you see that most of these papers really have co-authors from other countries. So in terms of the categories, on the number, the most popular are health, healing, environment, HE. So there's like 14 papers. It's 28%. Educational and learning environment, 10 papers, 20%. Community environment, also there's 5. So there's 10%. So educational learning just now was 20% for 10 papers, and 4 papers, 8% for hospitality, tourism, environment, and the urban environment. So from the 50 approved abstracts, they were transformed into 37 approved papers. So it's very good number of papers consistently in the range of higher 30s or 40s and 50s. And was planned by ABRA, okay, for the forthcoming in next year, 2022, is AQoL2022 in Penang, Malaysia, from 16 till 17 March. Okay, followed by the plan is ISEPS 2022 in Venice, Italy, from 13 to 14 July 2022, and AQoL 2022 in Marrakesh, Morocco, 14 and 15 December 2022. So let's pray, let's hope that the COVID-19, the number will drop significantly, inshallah, then so that we'll be able to have all of these conferences in person. Now we have hybrid, so maybe it looks like hybrid maybe the way to go. But alhamdulillah, we are able to have this hybrid, which we started the one in Bukit Tinggi, and it's successful. So to that, massive congratulations to Prof Yusuf and the team and all those who contributed to the success of this conference. And once again, thank you very much to all the keynote speakers and paper presenters as well as participants for this conference, and all the best for a successful and enjoyable conference in Langkawi this time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and salam sejahtera. Thank you. Back to you, Dr. Nick.
Thank you, Prof. Jamalullah, for your opening speech. Thank you, Prof. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we believe all have received the detailed schedule for your oral presentation, which has been emailed to all of you. Just a reminder, for today there will be 2 breakout sessions. Okay, again, just a note. If for whatever reasons, such as connectivity issues, we shall stick to the breakout as scheduled. The particular affected breakout session shall be rescheduled after breakout. Okay, so I will announce that the coffee break will be at 10 AM, followed by lunchtime. During lunchtime, then our photo will be taken as proof for our meeting. Okay, so tea will be held at 5 PM and dinner will be at 8:30 PM at the pool area. So, and for now, breakout session 1 for room 1 and room 2 will begin now. Thank you. So room 2, bought room 1. Room 2, but for the main here, the first okay, this is room 1, and then the other part, room 2. Thank you. Thank you. Over to you, from Taiwan, who will share breakout 1. Thank you. Okay, yes. Please.
Should I introduce myself? I am from Taiwan. I'm the professor in the National Chengkung University. So before I have a problem to get into the conference, so I'm finally I'm here. So now we can start our session with the first one. Okay. The first one is the impacts of Japanese middle class work culture on the development of the nation. Is our presenter here?
Yes, Prof. I'm the first presenter. So shall I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm Shalini here from Utah, Malaysia. So today I would like to present about impact of Japanese middle class work culture on the development of the nation.
Yes.
Okay. So if you see here, right, Japanese employees, they work more hours, 80 hours overtime each month without any extra allowance from their organization. So due to their dedicated employees, industrial conflict and absenteeism and also turnover is very low. So why? Because you can say that Japanese employees are very loyal to their company and they feel like their company is something like their family. Yeah, so usually these employees, they will blame themselves if their employer's expectation cannot be achieved. So because of this, right, the Japan have a serious problem, which is Japan will be a super aged nation in the coming years due to this work culture. Okay, so my problem statement, due to their dedication towards their work, the Japanese are giving less importance to their family life, which will eventually lead Japan to a super aged nation in the future. So my aim for this research is to identify the drawbacks of their work culture towards the development of the nation. So objective will be to identify the negative impact of Japanese work culture on the society and to determine the value of life, which will be taught to the younger generation. The literature review. So first you can see, right, the household in the Japan. So we can divide into four quartiles. So my one is more to middle class, so which is second to fourth quartile of income, so which is classified as a middle income. So to make up the high living expenses, both men and women, they need to work hard and they need to work more hours. So there will be several negative impact due to their work culture, which is drinking alcohol, increase of karoshi and karoshi-sastu, then increase of health issue and also lower birth rate and also aging. So we will see one by one. So poor health, poor sleep quality. So over time, an unhealthy work balance is perceived as the Japanese work culture. So usually they like to work hard and they like to work more hours, even though the company or the boss asks them to go, but then they still want to complete their work, right? Purposely to create extra work for themselves. And you can say that they like to, they don't like to keep their work for the next day. If can, they would like to finish all the work by on that day itself. So impact of this, they will have insomnia, difficult to wake up, and daytime sleepiness or drowsiness and inadequate sleep. So the next is create unhealthy habits like drinking and alcohol. So usually this Japanese work culture, right, after they complete their work hours, they like to go for drinks, social drinks, right, with their colleagues. So which is we call as a nomikai. So you can say that in here, they will create a bonding with their colleague. And due to this, again, they will go back late to their family. Okay, next, increase of karoshi and karo-jisastu. So which is, you can say that the health impact again. So long working hours, increase of 2 severe health issues. So you can say that this karoshi, sudden death, right, it work. And also karo-jisastu, they will commit suicide. Why? Because they cannot handle too much of stress. If they cannot achieve their target, or you can say the KPI, right, for the company, they will feel that they are the one who need to be blamed and that they cannot sustain it. So they try to end their life. So because of this, right, many middle-aged employees committing suicide because of their stress and economical hardship. So adopting a daily minimum rest period and get enough sleep helps to recover all this process. So increase of health issue. So due to, again, not enough sleep, not enough rest, right? So they have increased risk for the cardiologist diseases, which is heart attack, and chronic fatigue, stress, depression, anxiety, poor sleep quality, usage of alcohol and smoking, then self-perceived health, mental issue status, and also hypertension and health behavior. So what they will do is they like to arrive to their workplace 2 hours earlier, and they will leave their company 5 hours later. So they consider all these things as normal. So it's okay for them if you don't give any extra allowance for this, right? But in Malaysia, it's kind of different. So you can say that nobody will work overtime if you don't give any extra allowance, especially on Saturday or Sunday, right? Okay, then because of this, again, they have the lower birth rate and also aging. So you can say that now, if you see from the graph, right, you can see Japan today is the world's oldest population. So low birth rate and fewer working persons. So you can say because of this, right, Japan cannot have, or you can say they have less labor later, right, because they have more older people compared to the younger people. So there are many sexless marriage due to their extended work hours and declining towards the fertility rate. And you can say that the labor force is expected to drop by 20% in the next 20 years, implying that more individuals need to be work more long hours, or else they need to take up more foreigners to compensate with all the loss of labor. Yeah, then you can see from the chart again, both birth and mortality rate have declined. The shape has shrunk dramatically. So you can say in 2019, the number of senior people aged 65 and above is 35.89 million, counting to 28.4% of the total population. So in the projection of in 2060, so it is predicted that the pyramid base will be much smaller and the total population will be smaller in all the age groups. So methodology. So this research was conducted in the area of Kanto and Kyushu area. So 900 set of questionnaires was distributed physically and through the Google form, but then only 345 responded received. So hence you can say response rate was 38.33. So convenience sampling was used, which whereby that respondents will not be forced to participate in this research, but then they participate due to their willingness. So low response rate are recorded due to the research was conducted during the COVID-19 pandemic, which is October 2020 up to June 2021. Then general affairs, like for example, employees, then regular service employees, temporary employees, part-timers, and other work normally, they contribute, like for example, their salary from 0 until 600,000 yen. Will be the main target for this research. So there were 4 sections in this questionnaire. First one is demography, work culture in the current organization. Section 3, sociology impact. Section 4, negative impact of Japanese work culture. Yeah, so from this table 1, you can see that the Combach Alpha values for the impact of organization and impact of the nation in section 4 are 0.720 and 0.614 respectively, indicating that adequate internal consistency, while the Combach Alpha value towards the impact to the family and friends and impact to the younger generation is 0.885 and 0.849 respectively, indicating a good internal consistency. So in table 2, you can see the value of KMO is extremely near to 1.0, hence the factor analysis is appropriate for the data in this research. So this table is the analysis, but I already summarized the analysis of both tables right into here. So you can see the highest for the impact of organization. So many respondents say that long working hours will produce waste and inefficient human capital. So around 3.623 mean. And second, they said the long working hours push away the women from contributing to the nation economy. Why? Because they also need to contribute at their home. They need to take care of their family. So if there is long working hours, so they feel that they will neglect their family lives so that they can contribute more to the company. Even some of them, they refuse to get married. Third is Japanese employees usually face a high pressure due to the tough job at work. So around 3.348 mean. And lastly, penalized for leaving some of the unfinished work of the following day. So only 1.246 mean. So next is impact to the family and friends. So the highest, so many of the respondents say that they don't have time to make babies. So around 3 mean, right? And they feel like it's very difficult for them to divide the working hours and family time, right? So it's around 2.925 mean. And some of them say that they will abandon their old parents due to their work life. So they feel like since they are very busy, so they don't have time to take care of their old parents, so they don't really go and check on them. Then lastly, some of them regret because they feel like their family is a burden, and sometimes they might feel nervous and they feel like regretting to have a family. So around 1.661 mean. Impact to the younger generation. So the respondent feels like work and going up the career ladder are more important than the family. So 1.528 mean. And it's okay to neglect the responsibility toward the old parents. So the mean is quite low, 1.301. And it's okay to put the burden and the responsibility on your partner. So again, the mean is quite low, 1.301. So finally, the impact to the nation. So Japan has the lower birth rate and rapidly aging. So it declined the population. So many of them say this, which is 4.48 for me, and many sexless marriage in Japan, so which is 3.904. So karoshi and karojisastu are increasing day by day among the young adults. So around 3.386 mean, and many young Japanese adults who never had any relationship until the age of 40, so which is 2.128. So you can see that many Japanese are giving more priority to their work life compared to their private life. So conclusion for this research, so you can say that the Japanese government should really tighten their rules regarding the extra working hours and introduce some new policies on the early childcare so that the woman also can contribute to the nation's economy as well. For example, preparing the healthcare for the child and all that. And in addition to this, the government should award the compliance organization to the latest rules in terms of tax exemption, providing additional leave policies and others to promote the health work balance among the Japanese. Although many alternatives can be implemented, things will not change overnight, obviously, right? So therefore, little changes can make a huge difference in increasing the quality of life for the Japanese community. And limitation of this research, the data was collected due to the COVID-19 breakdown. So you can say that due to this, right? So we had a very low response. So therefore, many respondents, they feel reluctant to participate in this research. And you can say that some of the respondents are really afraid to participate in the fear of being penalized by the organization for reporting against the organization's policy. So data obtained for this research, you can say, cannot be used to generalize the work culture in the entire Japan as a whole. So more research are required. Yeah, so this research was funded by the Sumitomo Foundation. So they were providing the financial aid, and the data collection was done by my co-authors from Japan. So thanks for them. So these were some of the references used in this research. So that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your presenting. Now, I think this is a big problem of Japanese nation. You have done a very good analysis for the problem. I think your analysis is very simple and clear, and tell us many things.
Yeah.
I really found that this is a relative good research. And after your research, what you have found for the result you think that is most important for the Japanese nation to, to solve the problem? Do you have any suggestion for the Japanese people?
Yeah, actually, right. Some of my respondent response that even though government have certain policies like they would like to give Saturdays off, like in a month, right? Maybe 2 Saturdays off, but then it's very difficult to change the Japanese mindset because they feel that if they don't go to work, it's been something wrong with them. So
Yes.
they really want to contribute. So it's very difficult to change their mindset. So, but then still, you can say that the government is trying their best to improve their quality of life, their work balance, right? Because they cannot always think of their work, but at the same time, they also need to contribute to their family as well. So you can say that things will not change very fast, so it will take some time because it's already, you can say, embedded in their blood. So it's very difficult to, make them to stop working.
Yes, yes. And do you find any, any situation that younger generation work less, or?
Not really, because when I send out the questionnaire, right? So the younger people nowadays, they feel that the priority in life is work. So they feel they are okay if they don't get married early. And they delay and delay and delay. And one time they feel like they cannot get the proper partner which suits them. So they feel like they continue working. They prefer to be single.
Wow, that is very a problem for the nation.
Yeah.
Okay, I will give the microphone to the guest. Do anyone have a question or sharing with the presenter? I think this is a good question for the society. This condition is also seen in Taiwan. Taiwan people work also very hard, but not so hard than the Japanese. But we have also this problem. The younger people do not willing to marry. More and more young people like to be single. That's also a problem for Taiwanese. Oh, okay. Is there no question more? We would like to change our present to the next one. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof.
Community friendly.
Okay, very good morning to all. My name is Intan. So today I'm going to share a little bit about research. It's mainly about the case studies of AMER, architectures and contextualism as an approach to a multi-faith, community-friendly. What I can say is that essentially our developed nation is small developing nations. It's actually a melting pot of culture due to the diverse populations of 32 million citizens. So in such a way, there is an ever increase of multi-faith communities due to the racial tensions of the past. So the bonds of our nation must be strengthened in the names of unities and fraternities. So what MOS is actually one of the third place that commonly be found in the communities, especially in the neighborhoods and residential development area. But however, what we can see that some of the MOS designs, there are units of engagement with the public usage. So the social inclusivities of the MOS design is somehow it's actually disappearing over the time. So what important factors need to be considered? I think there is some research found that there is an insufficient effort that has been made to convert an open space in the mosque into the attractive and beneficial public space that promotes intercultural engagements within the community. So the mosque, I think, should be an ideal space for Muslim and also non-Muslim communities to engage in the socials and communal activities together. So in regards to these ideas, I think it is possible for the mosque to be the arena in which people can have friendships, connections with each other, at the same time to have a shared or sense of belonging for the multi-faith community. Is it really possible for the mosque design to foster the context and reach between different multi-faith to have a better reach of in terms of the social capital? One of the ideas that we can commonly found in a very well diverse community is actually a multi-faith space. But multi-faith concept is actually the concept that relates to multiple religions have a shared space. But one of the good things about this multi-faith space is actually it's allowed to encourage welcoming and diverse adaptations for the shared religions spaces in terms of the design for it. So this research is actually aim to outline the design strategies of the mosque as a third piece that promote inclusive community neighborhoods. So part of the objective this research tried to achieve is actually to describe the architectures of the mosque and multi-faith space concepts, to understanding what are the differences between these two, to appraise the mosque design approach towards the multi-faith architecture's response. And the third one is to outline the design strategies of the mosque space for the communal and social inclusivity. What we can see that I think in general, mosque is actually a place for sujud. Essentially, mosque has been developed in such a good way, which actually previously has been a part of the community area, which is actually has been transcribed over the times. So essentially, mosque has been served previously to perform religious, political, social, and educational activities. There are four main components that is very important in the mosque design, which is the main elements, the complementary elements, additional elements, and the defining elements. In regards to the ideas of the mosque, I think mosque is usually related to the community mosque, right? There is a few design strategies that always be related to the community mosque, which is especially related to social organizations, the form, the materiality, the local characters are the design strategies that could be considered. So I think in terms of communal mosque, I think one of the important factors is the facades, the ornamentations, the detailings, the structure, the materials, the setting, and also the skills characters. So in designing the mosque, I think mosque should be appealing, reachable, and accessible for everyone to generate the public space characters. In relation to the multi-faith concepts or architectures, essentially it's related to the modern architectures that reflects the global aspects of religions building to meet the public's needs of space. These kinds of architectures, actually modern versions of the old religions architectures, which is in a simpler version, tips to hire the contemporary designs. It's actually being located, most of the space is being located in the public buildings, which is airports, cemeteries, chapel, hospital, homes for elderly. Part of the, I think in relation to the multi-faith concept, it's not essentially about the singular space. So some of the multi-faith concepts have been brought into the arrangement of standalone projects of multi-faith buildings, which is House of One is one of the examples. So one of the good things, the fundamentals about this multi-faith concept is actually designing the space, try to blurring the lines of the singular face, and it's actually being viewed or executed in an organized way and try to hold the neutral characters. So one of the keywords in the multi-faith is try to hold the neutral characters. These studies is actually more focused toward a case studies approach. The selected mosque is actually Al-Mujahideen Mosque. The location is located at Damansara Utama. It's actually the site, it has a church, cathedral church, the opposite of the mosque. It's within the community neighborhood compounds. So there are two methods that has been applied to conduct this research, which is observations. There are 6 criteria that has been defined as a domain to analyze the research, which is the context, skills and amassing, forms, architecture style, visual access, materialities, and also landscapes. The second method is through interview, semi-structured interview. So part of the consideration is try to understand the perceptions of the mosque activities and the multi-faith communal area space. Based on the findings, I can sum up that the mosque is actually very important for the community if it's actually being viewed or resembles by the community. In case of Al-Mujahideen Mosque, it's actually The fund is actually raised by the community itself, and the local Qaria is actually the ones that hold the authorities to handle and administrating the mosque. So in terms of the context of the mosque, essentially the mosque has a very good context, which is located in the residential zones. And also it's actually a very fine-grained fabric area for easy navigations of street patterns in between the mosque areas and also the church area. It actually has a good landmark where it's actually located within the roundabout compound area. In terms of the scales and massings, I think scales and massings is very important in terms of architecture, how it's related in the building itself and also the contextual. So previously there is minarets for this mosque, but apparently the minaret has been demolished. So the absence of minarets, I think, is actually also create a subtle complements to the surroundings, where most of the surrounding buildings actually 2 stories and also 3 stories. So it's complementing the low skyline within the fabrics area. In terms of the building scales, as the mosque actually serve for the communities, it's actually medium-sized scales, it's a good scales to have a higher activities intimacy for the communities. For facade design, I think part of the common things that people address with facade design is actually about the ornamentations and the patterns, but it's also mainly to serve about the science part of it, to consider the direct sunlight part, the east and west parts. So I think the mosque that is designed with a very deep veranda spaces, overhangs and everything, minimize the direct exposures of high angles of sunlight. So apart from that, it's not about the mosque only, the considerations of the mosque facade design. So the west part of the mosque is actually facing the residential part. So to be humble, to be response to the residential part, the mosque design has less openings to the west part. In terms of structures, I think if we typically see the structures of the mosque design, so some of the architecture styles of the mosque trying to have imitations, try to have readapting various architecture styles from other aspects. So this mosque essentially has a very minimalist concept in designing the mosque, which is it has round columns, it has a waffle slab. So there is less ornamentations to the mosque, and it's applied the local characters, which is a perimeter veranda. So it's actually applying symbolisms of regional architecture styles in the mosque. So in relation to the form and architecture itself, I think the architecture styles of the mosque, it actually have a mixed architecture style. So some representations, it has a modern approach. Some representation with the domes, it has Islamic kinds of resemble thinkings approach. And also regional, such as the roof designs, has a certain part applying regionals and also the material. Visual access, I think for the mosque, it's very important. So the multiple entrance of the mosque creating welcoming scenes for all directions. So the large gates of calligraphy, if you can see there is a calligraphy gates here, is actually indicates that the beauties of artistic sides of Islam. But at the same time, I think it's also create a very strong or prominent statements to certain public's perceptions. In terms of the perimeters, I think the mosque has a very good visibilities, less non-obstructive gates, which actually protect to allow the indirect visibilities, facilitate previews activities to the local communities and also the publics. So this is one of the way that how, in such a way, any event or activities that has been held could actually bringing people to come or approaching to the site, whether it's direct or indirect methods. In terms of the ambience, I think the selections of materials is very important. So some to have elements, I think mosque qualities is about the privacy elements. So although it has an open quality selections of materials such as a tinted way of segregating the public space and the private space, gives certain barrier or clear direction so that Muslim can have a very good in terms of faith to perform the prayer activities. So the exterior walls of the facade, especially on the upper floor, it has a shading device, which is actually designed with the ornamental patterns. So essentially, this facade essentially allows certain amount of lightings to diffuse to the corridor space and also the female interior spaces. One of the good things related to the materialities is it's actually capturing ambience. So colors is one of the way that capturing ambience. This moss is actually being recognized as the white moss due to its color and also its symbolisms of purities and holiness. So the earth stone is actually creating a sense of tranquil environments. So there is certain adaptations of the blue colors glasses here. It resembles part of the skies and peace to the burial hall. So it has a minimalist adaptations rather than too much of resemblance of other regions, architectures or styles in the mosque designs. Lastly, I think in terms of the observations, finding is about the landscapes, the permanence and impermanence of the landscape characters. So it is very important to consider the vegetations, the furniture placements, and also the open space, which is the parking, the convertible space that can be extensions of an event space for the community. Based on the interview, I found that there is mainly 3 factors in supporting the mosque as a multi-faith friendly space. So the most important things is the place and the space functions are very critical in addressing the community needs rather than the architecture's impression itself. So like I said previously, this mosque has go through certain stages of renovations and everything, especially community needs, its great community attachment. So addition and subtractions such as subtractions of minarets shows that there is no need minarets as one of the characters of the mosque. It's one of the symbolisms or landmark factors. But in terms of the accommodating the needs, it's actually the place where we put the speaker for azan purpose. So there is like purpose of designing the mosque. I think the mosque should serve the main functions rather than the architecture styles and representations on its own. And then the second thing, it is good that this mosque is actually it's actually integrated with the educational complex, which is the kindergarten, Islamic kindergarten complex. So part of the facilities of this kindergarten complex is also consists of halls and also library. So this could bring an extension of the mosque compound to have approachings to the education compound. This is also allow the publics to enter these 2 territory, but at the same time, there is a boundaries that need to be considered when integrations are happening between 2 different typologies of buildings. The third thing is actually the space and program relationships. So I think often layout such as the veranda has a good potentiality. I think in fact of Rumah Melayu, the mosque design, it offers a very good continuations of engagement space and flexible space, either in structured or unstructured programs. So the most important thing is the programs. I think the programs plays important role, especially in the mosque. It's already been built, it's already have attachment to the communities. So through activity, this is one of the methods that need to be really strengthened in the communities, which is attachment is needed through programs. Based on the interview, I found out that there is the structured program is one of the way that could help encouraging non-Muslim to come into the mosque compound, which is events such as talk, cultural, sports, and also humanitarian activities, especially due to the MCO. But then the unstructured programs are rarely to be happen because this is not a very friendly methods that people will come to the mosque and to have an event to have for the diverse or multi-faith people. The forms, functions, and the meanings of program is crucial, I think, in short, for this multi-faith friendly agenda. I think in conclusions, what I can see that community mosque is not just limitations on the spatial orientation, the form, materiality, and visual access. Multi-faith space offers the strategies in terms of the neutrality characters, materiality, and universal adaptations to it. Additional space of the mosque is very important, not just the main space or complementary space. The additional space, such as libraries and verandas, helps to create a friendly and welcoming image environment. Al-Mujahideen Mosque, I think, has successfully, certain degrees successfully illustrate that these mosques can change the adaptations of reinterpretations of the mosque design through certain additions and subtractions and demolitions of minarets. What I can see that part of the design strategies that has been applied by this mosque is design with intimacy skills qualities, offer ease of preview, minimalist and adaptive architecture styles, offer flexibility space, and the universals and neutral characters as one of the design approach. The place is designed also with permanent and impermanent landscapes for social gatherings activities. In order to establish a multi-phase agenda, the process is actually not a singular process. It's very crucial to address the meaningful programs in order to support this approach. So with that, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. You have done very good research and also a very good presentation. I think the concept of multi-phase friendly concept is a very good idea for the people with different religion to live together and in a very peaceful context. I think that your research is very valuable. So in your research, you have found the community already have the intention to accept another religion, the people of another religion into the community, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's a very good sign. I think all religions are all good for the people. So the religions accept the people with different religions is very important for the society. So I give the opportunity for other guests in the room to question to ask you a question. Okay, is there anyone in the room have something to share with the presenter? I think the research is very good.
Nowadays, very popular in Malaysia is to introduce about the element of the mosque and the to given humanity. So the question is, can every mosque be promoted as a Muslim in Malaysia?
Okay. So I guess the question is related to currently I think in Malaysia there is quite a huge number existence of mosques as tourism, especially the one that is very famous currently is Masjid Sendayan, right? I think until now people are coming to the mosque because of the architectures of it. But I think looking into the mosque, I think the reason that I chose this mosque first is actually because it's actually located in the community area. Because part of the research intentions is to look about the multi-faith friendlies within the community context. So that is why community mosque has been chosen in the context of this research. So in relation to the tourism, mosque as a tourism, of course, mosque can serve as tourism aspect, but in terms of the attachments, there is less attachments because mosque as a tourism is actually potentially to create certain levels of engagement, one time off, second time off, or third time off for you to come. But there is lots of attachments can be created. If the mosque is actually located within the communities or community district area, the mosque should be integrated by the local community, serve the local community. Even like especially in the site of this Damansara Utama, where the mosque and the church are involved together, there is a few situations that they shared books or knowledge, and also they bring children to certain parts of the education context or open parts to have humanitarian activities, distributions of foods and everything to the diverse of the like multi-faith different cultures and multi-faith people. I think these two typologies of mosque is very different. One is to serve the community, one is to serve the imaginabilities of the mosque design rather than the usage to serve the community needs itself. So it's actually two different scopes of research, tourism mosque and also mosque as a tourism. And most of the tourism as a tourism, the main focus or the architecture styles is not about the representations or maybe representation of regional architectures. The representation, it's most of the tourism mosques, it's somehow certain inspired by those Islamic architectures, too much of patterns and ornamentations. So these two mosques has different strategies and different approach of dealing with it. So I think if that is actually answering the questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. We have moved on the next one. Okay, thank you for your
I think one more question. Sorry, the same. Okay. I just wonder, do you consider the mosque as an disabled friendly mosque as well in your designing for the tourism mosque? Because my experience in Malaysia, we are so lack of that. We are so lack of that in most of the mosques that we stop by to perform our prayers, because I'm carrying my husband is disabled person. So I've seen that we are very, not considering that compared to outside Malaysia, like overseas. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for the questions. I believe this question is slightly different, but I can still answer it. I think compared to the previous years, I think when we submit all of these drawings and everything, so there is no not really a proper audit for disabled audit for the mosque. But I think in most recent years, I think the designers, the architects has more knowledge. I think more knowledgeable, more workshops that has been given to the architects to design the mosque to be a universal friendly and disabled friendly. In every buildings, I think it's very every building have its disabled audit. There is a checklist for that, but somehow it's either they achieve 3 level at the 3 level or 4 or 5. Maybe 5 is the excellent one. So some mosques not complementing, not considering enough. So if all mosques have to comply with 5 checklists, 5 requirements, then only I think we can really improving it in a better way, so that the mosque really considering for the disabled people, because disabled is not, or maybe for universal, because universal it's for children, it's for moms with pregnant, for elderly, or those who are blind. So there are a few things. There are 7 categories of disabled people. So if the checklist, like the requirements to achieve this audit is actually 4, essentially I think more mosques we have a better image of serving the disabled people. So that's how I can say about the mosque. But in relation to the community mosque, I think it's very important to stay humble. It's very important to consider with all these lead factors. Even this mosque itself doesn't have the lead, especially for female. So it's actually somehow, but then mosque design has the flexibility. Even on the ground floor, you can have partitions and walls to have a temporary praying area for the female. So that is why I think certain mosques have flexibilities. There is an open spaces like veranda to have an open praying areas for male and also female extensions of it. But yeah, I think it depends. I think in terms of the applications, I think the auditings of the mosque, I think is very important factors in order to achieve the intentions to design a very friendly mosque. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your answer. We have moved on the next one.
Thank you.
The third presentation. Thank you. The third one is philosophical and Malay social culture elements in selected Malaysian paintings of the millennium era. Okay, our presenter is here.
My name is Ahmad Hakim bin Abdullah. I come from Universiti Malaysia Kelantan, the address Bacok Kelantan, Malaysian. Yeah, this is my PhD Doctor of Philosophy Research, but the fine art field. My focus on the paintings, scope of the Malaysian paintings in the selected from 2020 and 2000 to 2020. This is my introduction. Art painting is a popular art form in the Malaysian fine art industry. In Malaysia, paintings have been produced their masterpiece since independence day. That means during the colonial era, during the Second World War had been produced. Right, that's my means is the yearly after the World War, which is from the 1916, 1917, 1918, 1919, and until 2000 and beyond. Over the years, local painters have been presented various streams, styles, and concepts across the different mediums to the audience and aesthetics, and as well as those. At the same time, according to the Rahim et al., 2021 local painting have been largely competing with artworks influenced by the Western arts. Streams such as realism, futurism, abstract expressionism, Fauvism, surrealism, cubism, pop art, and Dadaism. Well, these style and concept have been produced from the yearly until 2020 until today. Okay, the problem statement. Currently, the study of philosophy and Malay's socioculture aspect in the art painting is still lacking, especially in the millennium era. This is because based on the highlighters yearly studies, there are not much and many details in the context context of philosophy and Malay socioculture in the art of paintings. Meanwhile, the lack of analysis and scholarly studies, philosophical and Malay sociocultural aspect in the painting is clearly proven in the millennium era. According to Hassan et al. 2018, this is due to the lacking of documentation and research to irrelevant and philosophical Malay sociocultural aspects of the Malay of art of painting in the millennium era. Sarina Abdullah, 2018. Therefore, there are not much research highlight the element issue related to the philosophical and Malay sociocultural to produce a critique of painting in the millennium era. Okay, this is my research objective to identify philosophical and Malay sociocultural elements presented in the moonkite produced by artist Hashim Hassan in 2017 to investigate the value of philosophical and Malay sociocultural elements in the Bulan Terbang Malam produced by Hashim Hassan in 2017. This is my research question, and we skip for the literature review. And the literature review on the philosophical and Malay sociocultural elements local painting have been highlighted most highlighted significant for the Malay society. Malay philosophy and sociocultural element following the manifested by the principles of Islam according to Ahmad Hakim 2021. In their research, indirect communication is required in the life of every Muslim. In this literature review elaborate more about the paintings have been aspects to portray and depict Malay's political, Malay socio-cultural issue and also religion elements. Because the artists created the paintings is not only just for that is properly focus on the lines, form, shape, tones, values, and colors. But in otherwise, it's also the aspects of the philosophical, or we can, or as you know, as we can call it such as a mini context, or so in terms of meaning is also as well a significant for the others and viewers. Viewers can see the paintings is not just only the the formalistic aspect. The is from the Ida Baizura Baha 2010. Millennials refer to anyone living based on the set costume belief, substrate of others' belief and cultural that is exclusive to has continued to exist among the Malays. Due to wide-ranging understanding, I have decided to combine two terms, adat and cultural, to present this category of Malayness. And we keep move to the methodology. My methodology is have been there are have a three stage. First stage is pre-iconographical description. This is not in depth, not in depth analysis, because it just to we can evaluate. We can assessment or nilai from the aspect identify the form of artworks especially for the aspect of lines, colors, aspiration, repetition, diversity, species, and contrast. And more in that aspect from the before is the iconographic analysis. Iconographic analysis for the aspect for the subject. Okay, for the shape of the wow moon kites, we can see the icon as an image. The artist Hashim Hassan created this painting, and the more in depth and more the more in depth, the most significant analysis is iconological interpretation. Iconological interpretation is referred to the either explicit direct and implicit indirect meanings. In terms of they created a direct point, the direct meaning. Why artists are chosen selected the subject matters to portray and to express in their works. Panofsky was established from the 1939. Okay, we can move on this very significant one of the significant Malaysian 20th century paintings, Mungkat. Very many others of Mungkat. We can see in my slide. This painting was created since 2007, and I get it from their galleries. In their galleries, but I have collect as my research the researcher personal collections. And these are my findings or analysis data. You can see iconography description is this painting is second work from the Hashim Hasan entitled was produced in 2017. From the aspect color, according to the Lazari and Glacier, warm colors and cool colors can influence the audience both physically, psychologically, and emotionally. Certain colors is surrounding influence our alertness, sense, well-being in a space. In addition, colors can be semiotic, thus associated with ideas and meanings. The colors we can see the contrast. We can see the more highlightness for the because I have selected this painting is also depicted is in my bank gallery, especially in Kuala Lumpur. It's very simple and very freedom from the aspect of arrangement of the moonkites in this painting. There is very in-depth in terms of, but this stage analysis is only for in terms of aspect film formalistic. What I talked what I talked before is just only for the lines, for the shape, for the form, in terms of the contrast, value, terms of colors. And this stage is iconography. Iconographical analysis. Iconographical analysis is also the second stage, right? The second stage, we can see the subject of the selected subject among the artists. My means is in the artist moonkites. As we can see a previous figure, flying wow. Is flying wow is subject. Wow is also Malaysian culture among the freedom free in the during the free time in the evening and from the first part. And it's very rarely, it's very jarang sekali untuk dia Malay community ni playing this what we can call as a traditional play. Traditional games, okay, traditional game. But in terms of nowadays, children is most significant in technology games, right? Such as PUBG. Okay, doing this, and then we can see the most finding. The most finding is very okay. I previously I want to talk about the in Kelantan state have a socio-cultural, right? Yesterday I go to the Kota Baru city. I have looking and saw at the wow moonkight. The government, Malaysia government created the graphic logo, advertising, electronic advertising, and combined with the what we can call combined with the wow moonkight shape. In one moonkight shape have boards papan elektronik untuk masyarakat penduduk di Kelantan, Malay community, untuk melihat the current issue. That is very significant. There are a few of technology, right? We can see the initiative of the government to looking the current issue, something like that. Maybe it's nowadays if have the COVID-19 for the current issue. That is very good research and innovation. Okay, but this one I will to write and more write about later in my papers in publication. Okay, in this publication is also Malaysia Airlines is was referred by the as a subject matter from Hashim Hasan to create the moonkites as a medium for verbal communication, involving implicit message. As we know, the Malaysia Airlines have been selected by the Hashim Hassan, that is symbolized and symbolize and portray the Malaysia Airlines has been services operating almost 49 years, apply to more 64 destination worldwide. Maknanya seluruh dunia dia telah hasilkan perjalanan the traveler. In addition, okay, this are my before I end my presentation. In addition, the philosophical and significance of the Mungkat Malay community are also highlighted through the perform arts, and especially the Kebarat, which is as usually performed by the Rema Malay community. When Malay community rogen local singer like such as Halimah Yazid, Fadil Turbo, just a very rarely named Jamie Intabelian, and the Kibara is first performed as a Malay socio-cultural in terms of traditional musical in the Kelantanese, like a group music group such as known as Gerbang Ranjuna, as we can see in the figure 4. Okay, the Kelantan also portray the message, a very portray the message about the humanities, macam such as nilai kemanusiaan, humanities value is very good for me, for us to elaborate more about the Malaysia socio-cultural context, in terms of in the first stage previous and before before about the lines. About the lines and colors, what we can feel, what do you feel, what others can feel, or what viewers can feel. Okay, right? Okay. This viewers can. Okay, in my conclusion, Wawula is Mungkat is we can put regarding to the noble philosophical and Malaysia social symbolism is represent the Mungkat traditional gate is required strong one to fly anytime in the evening among Malay community, which symbolizes the perfection of the universe created by the Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, presented highly appreciated by the Malay community, who always taken inspiration for the universe. According to his preference, he also emphasized the meaning and philosophical behind the moon kite symbolism to the Malay community is present humility. Why the kite is usually flying high at above the blue sky. The blue sky, it will return to the ground once you have been the game have been done or the game is over. And these are my references, or I can call the at all of the my citation. The 5 years latest, okay, or maybe something 5 years latest yang ke belakang, but almost is 5 years yang latest lah for the relevance. Okay, right? Can call relevance references. Okay. So my articles. Okay, right? Okay, my previous article. Okay, that's all.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. This is a very interesting research. From painting, we can see many things like information of the philosophy of the painters and something else, or from the culture, or from the people for the future. So we can see many things. I think our research fellow, our research academic should do more research on the paintings. This one is a very interesting one. Okay, are there any questions by our guest in the room? Or something you want to share with the presenter? This is an interesting one. You have mentioned the moon kite is a very important symbol for the culture of the community or for the region, right? Is the kite a symbol from the history? How come the kite as a symbol from the culture? Can you explain a little the background for us?
Okay. According to the speaker question, especially the moon kite is a very long times. Was played among the Malaysia city, but the artists also actually select was chosen and selected. This painting is for remind us what we can the like in the long time ago the Malay community had the cultural heritage such as we can call material culture. Previously because sebelum ini before time the Malay community have not have technology games technology something like today something such as like today, because something like today is very the artist portray the something but the children and the teenagers young generation today is more lacking of communication and social networking. The artist portray is created more created the philosophy about the communication on how to collaboration with others during the playing the traditional game was have been decreased playing in today until today. The significance of the artist this subject matter painting subject matter is just only for remind us what especially in my mind I especially for my I was born in Kelantan is since 28 years old, 28 years before. I also proven and evident had been evident looking if you around the Kota Baru city and not only the city but rural area, urban area, rural areas also the symbolism of moon kite is also just only for the like the kerangka macam dia something like the symbolism just not only the original but because the designers and designers and monumentals created something like the archa, something like the monument to remind us lah.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Okay, now we have to move on the next one. Okay, thank you for your presentation. Now we move on the fourth presentation. That's conservation aspects on developing geotourism for young tourists during the COVID-19 pandemic in Silang-Lahi village. Okay, is the presenter here?
Yes, Professor, I'm already here.
Oh, yes. Welcome, please start your presentation.
Okay, please allow me to help us to share my presentations.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, you already see the presentation, Prof?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, Professor Heng Zhang, and all ladies and gentlemen, respected members of the committee, and all the participants. First, I would like to thanks for this chance to present our study. And my name is Nurisa Ginting, and I'm lecturer in Universitas Sumatera Utara, Medan, Indonesia. Today, I would like to deliver my paper entitled Conservation Aspect on Developing Geotourism for Young Tourists during the COVID-19 pandemic in Silang-Lahi Village, Indonesia. Tourism is one of the drivers of economic development in Indonesia. The wealth of nature, natural and cultural resources is the main attraction in tourism. However, the spread of COVID-19 has an impact on the tourism sectors. Silang-Lahi village is one of the villages located on the coast of the Caldera Toba, which have been ratification as a global geopark by UNESCO. Rich in biodiversity and historical cultural diversity. Silang-Lahi village provides many tourism products that are suitable for young visitors and become a favorite destination for young tourists and leading destination in Dairy Regency. However, the development of geotourism based on conservation aspect during the pandemic in Silang-Lahi village is still minimal. Therefore, the study aims to examine the aspect of conservation-based geotourism for young tourists during the COVID-19 pandemic in Silang-Lahi village. Geotourism is a concept that is present in contemporary tourism to create a fun and meaningful travel experience. Geotourism encourages a sense of care for tourists and the surrounding community in every activity so that they want to participate and protect, preserve biodiversity and geoheritage, namely geographical conservation based on SADRI 2020. Geotourism can fulfill the wishes of tourists, provide a positive impact on the environment and local communities in developing the economic in the area, based on the Ginting et al. 2021. Conservation aspect play an essential role in the development of geotourism. Conservation is an activity to maintain, protect, and manage a place so that a future generation can still enjoy it. Conservation consists of environmental conservation and cultural conservation. Environmental conservation is a method or process of protecting certain areas from damage and pollution, based on Luna et al. 2019. And the cultural conservation is a preservation carried out to protect cultures or artifacts so that the next generation can still enjoy them. based on Luna 2020 and ABRA 1979. Then indicators that include environmental conservations, water and wastewater management in tourist destination, environmental conservations, activities involving young tourists, pollution caused by young tourists, and the intensity of facilities and infrastructures in tourist destinations. Indicators that include cultural conservation, cultural activities involving young tourists, the positive and negative influence of young tourists on the local community cultures, and how to protect local culture by involving young tourists. Next, the methodology that we discussed it with research area and method. The location of the research area is in Silalahi village, Silasi Sabungan district, Gairi Regency of the Sumatra Utara or North Sumatra province. This tourist area is rich in biodiversity, history, and culture, such as Paropo Campground, Silalahi Clan Monument and Cemetery, Silalahi Beach, and Rohiana Beach public baths. Various tourist attractions, both natural and cultural tourism, attract young tourists to come. This research used a mixed method with observations, questionnaires, and lab interviews. Observations were carried out to obtain physical data of the study area in photograph of architectural style, uses, cultures, activities, and others. Lab interviews were conducted with 7 key respondents who are the local government in the study area, including institution, academics, and also the hotels. Then the distribution of 100 questionnaires to collect the perception of the youth tourists about the conservation aspect in Silalahi village. Okay. Now we come to the finding and discussions. I will step forward to the findings and discussion. There are 2 conservation factors, namely environmental conservation and cultural conservation. First, environmental conservation. For the first indicators is water and waste management in tourist destinations. We found that the availability of information regarding water and waste management in Silalahi is quite good. Silalahi village doesn't yet have a good waste disposal system. Floating net cage on the source of the lake are the cause of the water and air pollution, and this is you can see in the pictures in the slides. And the second indicator is environmental conservation activities involving young tourists. We found that the awareness of young tourists about the importance of the environmental conservation activities while at the tourism location, and then sharing these activities on their social media is quite good. Based on the result of the interviews, environmental conservation activities have been carried out in Silalahi village by nature lovers community activists. Pop Darwish, which is a group of the tourism awareness and residents in each village, namely planting trees and cleaning up trash around the lakes or in the Silalahi village environment. The participation of young tourists in maintaining a clean environment during the pandemic shows of perfect numbers. And the third indicator is pollution caused by young tourists. We found that the questionnaires' results were not following the condition in the field. When we are in the field, it was found that there was still garbage scattered in several research locations, such as the Paropo campground. And the last indicator is the intensity of facilities and infrastructures in tourist destinations. We found that the ease of getting access to information about the availability of facilities and infrastructures in geotourism destination is quite good. The management provides facilities in tourist destinations such as toilets and rubbish bin. Based on observation, 6 are only available at the Paropo campground, while other tourist attractions do not yet exist. Even though, according to the observation before, we find out that even in the Paropo camping grounds is already have sinks, but the garbage still also scattered. And the second factors from conservation is cultural conservation. We found that cultural activities are still preserved in Silalahi village, marked by the presence of the dance studio. On weekdays at the Silalahi Clan Monument and Cemetery, dance performances are held. Silalahi Clan Monument and Cemetery have also been designated as a cultural heritage building by the Cultures and Tourism Office of the North Sumatra province. When carry out cultural conservation activities at the geotourism location, young tourists also help protocols. Now we come to the conclusions. This study found that the Silalahi village can be developed into geotourism, especially in the aspect of the environmental and cultural conservation. For the first factors from conservation, that is environmental conservation, we found that the management of domestic waste by the community has not been managed properly. Awareness of young tourists is still not good because there is still garbage scattered around the tourist location area, and young tourists didn't apply health protocol when traveling in the nature during the COVID-19 pandemic. For the second factors from conservation is cultural conservation. We found cultural preservation in Silalahi is good. Young tourists apply health protocol during the cultural tours. Cultural activities such as dance performance are only available on the big days. This is the difference between young tourists when they goes to the nature, they are not using a mask, but when there is a cultural shows, they are using mask. And at the end of my presentation, I would like to present some of the recommendations to increase the environment and culture's conservation in Silalahi. Some effort required to be done. There need to provide training on how to properly manage water and waste, and need to carry out natural and cultural conservation activities regularly by involving young tourists, and providing training on the importance of implementing health protocol in the era of the COVID-19 pandemic, and also giving sanction to people who follow the environment and destroy the cultural objects. And I think our further research we will be continuing to develop research on these conservation issues, especially for creating the geotourism for the young tourists in the Caldera Toba. Okay, that's all my presentations. It's been a great honor to be here, and I would be very grateful if you could give input and comments to accomplish our papers. Thank you, and a good morning, Professor Heng. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for your presentation. Do you think the COVID-19 impact the tourism on this island, on this community? greatly
thank-
or
yes,
smallly?
yes, Professor Heng. Of course, where the COVID-19 is really affected the tourism in this Lake Toba. It's not only in this Silalahi village, but the whole Lake Toba. Lake Toba, which is we have Samosir Islands, and it is really very bad. The effect of the COVID-19. I could also explain to you that, for example, one hotel is one big, it's a hotel. It's only less than 5% they have occupations. But nowadays, Professor Heng, I think now it's already start moving the tourists to this area. Now they are already have tourists coming to this area, not only for this Lalai, but also for the rest of the Samosir Islands and also Lake Toba. But they are not. Some of them they are not staying in there. They are just only one day trip right now, because they are still because almost all the object tourists the area for the objects, the attractions, they have visitors, but not the hotels. Not the hotels. Hotels still remain having a big problem right now. That's
okay. Before the COVID-19, there are many young people, young tourism come here to visit the village, right? Oh, okay.
yes, Prof, especially for this area is famous on the camping ground and also trekking, because this is a very natural place, and the young tourists love to come here normally. My future background is also in that area.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you think COVID-19 is a bad thing or a good thing for the village? I mean, for the conservation, environmental conservation and cultural conservation.
For my opinions, for the conservations, I think it's a good thing. Sorry to say, it's one thing for the conservation is COVID-19 is a good thing. Yeah, they're healing the earth.
Yes,
in certain way, even though we are having a problem for as a human being.
I also have this feeling. The COVID-19 is positive for the environment.
Yes,
I think.
Yes, it's like a both like a two coin. Yeah.
Yes. The two sides of the coin.
Yes.
Is there any question or sharing in the room, in the meeting room with the professor, with the presenter? Yes, is there one? Okay, then we will move on the next. Thank you for your wonderful
Professor.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Heng.
We see you again.
Yes, I meet you again. I have two papers because this year I have to research. Yeah, I'm going to research. But this one is actually the research that for yes research. Okay. Actually, I very good morning again, Professor Zhang, Professor Heng Zhang, and all the participants. And thank you for the chance that given to me. And my name is Nurisa Ginting, and I'm from the Universitas Sumatera Utara, and I would like to deliver my paper entitled "Particular Characters in Heritage Tourism to Attract Visitor Comparative Studies in Sumatra, Indonesia." First, the cultural and historical diversity in Sumatra has the potential to become a great heritage tourism. The significant benefits of the heritage tourism help boost the economy by showing the particular characteristics of the local people and culture. Medan, Bukit Tinggi, and Siak have a similar history in Sumatra with their respective potential. Often, visitors find it difficult to distinguish the history of one heritage tourism destination from another. The particular characters will make the tourist easy to distinguish heritage tourism in Sumatra. Therefore, tourist destination in Sumatra need to be supported by a concept that follows particular characters in the area. This study aims to compare the particular characters of the heritage tourism in Medan, Bukit Tinggi, and Siak, Indonesia. This finding will show the differences in particular characters of heritage building and traditional transportation on similar heritage tourism in Sumatra to influence and attract tourists to visit heritage tourism in Sumatra. Our literature reviews, heritage tourism is a potential heritage resource from the past to present and future generations, including objects, places, events, people, and phenomena, based on Timothy 2018. Heritage tourism in cities can increase tourist satisfaction by providing a particular characteristics or uniqueness. Based on McCabe 2004, heritage tourism is classified into tangible and intangible. Tangible heritage is an inheritance that cannot be moved, such as buildings, statues, sites, and the area's landscape. Also, intangible heritage is a legacy that can be transferred, such as personal collection and literary products. In particular, urban cultural heritage tourism has particular characters based on Kisusi and Messias 2019. Particular characters can be an attraction because they only exist in certain areas at certain times, based on Refines 2016. And the particular character will make tourists easy to remember the place. Particular characters are classified into cultural buildings and traditional transportations. For the cultural buildings, facade and building ornament have character values and considerable influence on the city's image, based on the Askari and Dola 2009. And traditional transportation, tourism with the distinctive traditional transportations attracts many visitors who want to try, based on Jono and Kubota 2005. Next. This is the methodology that we discussed with the research area and methods. This research was conducted in Medan, Bukit Tinggi, and Siak. The area various famous heritage tourist attractions in Medan, such as Maimun Palace, Al-Maksum Grand Mosque, Sri Delhi Park, Chong Afi House, London, Sumatra, the Old Post Office, Bank Indonesia, and Medan City Hall. And in Siak, there is a famous heritage tourist attraction such as Siak Sri Indrapura Palace, Katosit, Shahabuddin Great Mosque, and Tangsi Holland. And in Bukit Tinggi, the famous heritage tourism is Pagaruyung Palace, Jam Gadang, Bung Hatta Birth House, Pot the Cock, and the Japanese Hall. This research used a mixed method with observations, questionnaires, and then interview in Medan, Bukit Tinggi, and Siak. Observations were carried out to figure out the actual condition in the area. That interview were conducted with the 12 key informants from the government institutions, academics, managers of the heritage tourism destination. Then the distribution of 150 questionnaires to observe respondent perspective of the particular characters in heritage tourism. These methods involve tourists and local people. Next, I will step forward to the result and discussion. We will look closer to the two variables of the particular characters in the study area, cultural buildings and traditional transportations. The first variable is the cultural buildings. Comparing the three cities, we found that heritage buildings are interesting and become their reasons for visiting. Maimun Palace in Medan, Pagaruyung Palace in Bukit Tinggi, and Sri Indrapura Palace Siak are the most popular palace. Particular character in historical building can be seen from the shape of the roof, the shape of the building, and the ornament that have special meanings. The particular characters in the Maimun Palace can be seen from the shape of the building, which have many pillars and distinctive roof. In addition, in Pagaruyung Palace in Bukit Tinggi, the roofs resembling a horn is a particular character in this place. Gonjong roof that points up to the sky is interpreted as an interaction with the god. Then the Siak Sri Indrapura Palace attracts visitors because it has a building form that adopts Arabs, Malays, and European architectural styles. Then comparing the three cities, we found that movable heritage objects in heritage tourism interesting and became the reason for visiting. The existence of the object inheritance give particular characters of a place that will attract visitors, so it must be protected and preserved.
Mami nanti nak open nak Zoom, Mami link Zoom tu Mami nak share dia. Dia tu kat mana file tu?
Oh, kalau macam tu
Excuse me.
Yang ni tadi kan kita try download, dia keluar daripada app tu kan. So macam kita download dari situ.
I hear the someone speak in the background. Please turn off your voice. Okay. Prof, you can continue your presentation.
Okay. The heritage objects include traditional clothes, documents, photographs of the past, painting, furniture, musical instruments, statues, and weapons. It has a particular characters that cannot be found anywhere else, thus providing memory to visitors, according to Refunds 2016. The second variable is traditional transportation. Traditional transportation can be an attraction in the heritage tourism area. Based on the survey result in heritage tourism area, the transportation in Medan and Siak are less attractive because no typical transportation in this town. At the Sultanate time, the traditional transportation used were horse and sheep. This mode of transportation can be used as a typical tourist attractions. Meanwhile, in the Bukit Tinggi heritage tourism areas, there is a typical traditional transportation called bendi. Bendi is a traditional Minangkabau carriage drawn by a horse. Bendi has a function as a mode of transportation and a mode of recreation. In heritage tourism, bendi attracts many visitors who want to try this type of traditional transportation based on Jono and Kubota 2005. Now, I want to show you our conclusions. We can see the response of the two variables of the particular characters in the research area. The particular character of heritage tourism is one of the important elements in creating the identity and image of the city. There are positive and negative perception towards a particular character principle in the research area. This study found that heritage building and objects have the strongest particular characters in heritage tourism and play an important role in attracting visitors. Meanwhile, distinctive traditional transportation does not affect the particular characteristic of heritage tourism area. Even though the distinctive traditional transportation is an attractive attraction for visitors. Therefore, the government should make a policy to develop the traditional transportation. Local people and government must be committed to maintaining, managing, and preserving heritage tourism destination by highlighting particular characters. And further research is preservation studies based on the characteristic in heritage tourism. That's all my presentation. It's been a great honor again to be here, and I would be very grateful if you could give me our input and comment to finalize our paper. Thank you and good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oh, thank you for your presentation. This research is interesting one. I think so many beautiful buildings and the interiors of the building also very attractive. You have mentioned that traditional transportation does not affect the particular characteristics of heritage tourism area. So it's why so? I found the traditional transportation is also very interesting. Why the people, the tourism is not so affected by this transportation? Do you know why?
Yeah, first, actually, tourist is actually, according to the theory, the traditional transportation is actually very important for getting the experience and also recreations. For increasing the memories for tourists, to this area. But for this study, when we our study is for this in 3 cities. We found out that in Medan and also in Siak, there is already no traditional transportation that is provided the tourists. Yeah, and but in Padang, in Minangkabau, in Bukit Tinggi, there is a very typical traditional transportation. They call it bendi, and that still exists up to now. And this is very good experience. I think that's why when we found out this situation, then we will have we will encourage the governments of Medan cities and also Siak to provide the traditional transportations, because this is adding, this will give more experience, more attractive experience to the tourists, especially based on the history. In this area, they also have similars. They also using in traditional transportation. They're using a horse and also they're using ship, because like Medan, in the Medan, they are actually parallel with the rivers, as is the big rivers. And we already try to give what they call it, the advice to the local government, especially Medan cities, to have traditional transportation in order to have more attraction to the tourists. That's
Okay, thank you. And you have mentioned heritage buildings and objects have strongest characteristic in heritage tourism. And can you explain for us what for objects? Like you have mentioned in your research, like traditional clothes or photos or the throne. Is there another one?
Yes. Of course, particular character based on the theory is actually one is a what do you call it, buildings, yeah? Buildings, cultural buildings, and
Yes.
I think in Medan we have quite a lot of beautiful buildings. It's not only they are, of course, are almost the same, yeah, but because they are built in colonial times. Like in the slideshows, we have a Maimun Palace and Grand Mosque and a park, Tong Afi House, and all these, all the colonial things. And the same things also we found out in Bukit Tinggi with the very beautiful Pagaruyung Palace, and also also in the Siak Indrapura Palace. And of course, this is very popular, and all the people, the tourists will, if they visit these three cities, they have to go there and go inside and take pictures. And nowadays they also have a experience to wear the traditional clothes. Yeah, this is one of the very important things. Attraction to this area.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. I think fifth presenter is already there, so we go to the fifth presentation. Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Thank you. Is the presenter for the fifth presentation already?
Prof,
there?
is me for negative. Can I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Hi, Prof. My name is Rozia. I will help Dr. Zinat for presentation. So allow me to share the screen, yeah?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, can you see the slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay, lovely. All right.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Roziha. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning to Prof. Heng. My name is Dr. Zinat Begum Yusof. I'm a lecturer from International Islamic University, Malaysia. Next. Next, my topic for today is negative impacts of chalet operation at Marine Park Islands. So as we know that small and medium tourism enterprises generates up to 60% of country's economic output, on the same time 70% of environmental pollution on the marine environment. So several studies indicated that marine tourism causes negative impacts such as loss of coral ecosystem, seawater pollution, solid waste generation, and loss of marine fishes. However, limited studies were conducted to determine the negative impact caused by tourism accommodation, especially on the Malaysian Marine Park Island. Next. So the study aim and objectives is to investigate the adverse impact caused by chalet operation on the Tioman and Perhentian Island, which both are Marine Park Island. So according to Dr. Roziha, can you go to the third slide, please? Okay, so the objective of the study is first to identify chalet operation on the Tioman and Perhentian Island. The second objective is to determine the negative impact caused by chalet operation on the Tioman and Perhentian Marine Park Island. Next. Okay, on the literature review part, we know that studies of tourism impacts are always discussed in terms of economic, social, cultural, and environmental dimension. And many studies agree that tourism are causing positive and negative impacts on the dimension. So studies from the late 1980s and onwards until today are claiming that tourism are causing negative impacts on the natural environment and social cultural dimension. So as we know that there are two very important theories, McCratcher theory on the fundamental truths and Butler theory on tourism area life cycle, that indicating tourism are causing disaster to the natural environment. Next. Okay, marine tourism impacts. Marine tourism is one of the fastest growing forms of tourism. So the impacts are usually in terms of ecological loss of coral and marine fishes, loss of rare animals and vegetal plants, marine and freshwater pollution, solid waste generation, and reduction of natural forests and fisheries. So many studies are only conducted to identify the negative impact from the specific tourism activities on the marine environment. For example, only studies are conducted to look at the impacts from the snorkeling activity, impacts from the marine boating activities. However, studies on the negative impact caused by tourism accommodation operation on marine environment is limited. Therefore, to fill gap, this study is conducted. Next. So this table are showing all the marine tourism impact studies that are conducted in other countries, but not in Malaysian Marine Park Island. So we can see the study are in terms of solid waste and littering, snorkeling, scuba diving, boat maintenance, sewage disposal, groundwater extraction, and all these are the impacts of the tourism operation towards the natural environment. For example, if you can see on the solid waste and littering, it caused the ingestion of plastic debris, which reduce marine mammal stomach capacity, hinder growth, cause internal injuries, and create an intestinal blockage. Solid waste also causes injuries, drowning, suffocation, or entanglement of marine mammals. Okay, next. So these are showing the general chalet operation in Malaysia. If you can see this figure, is showing that operation of chalet consists of front of house, back of house, and outdoor recreational area. Most of the operation occurs at the back of the house, where there is a housekeeping area, restaurant, food serving area, engineering and maintenance area, where usually we can identify the operation occurs in terms of solid waste, sewage, energy, and water management. Next. Okay, so as for methodology, I'm using qualitative method. Okay, the first thing, we have conducted the pilot study at Perhentian Island. We have tested our questionnaire to the 3 operators, and then we conduct our major fieldwork at Perhentian Island and Tioman Island. So in total, we have about 6 case studies. And the techniques that being used is a semi-structured interview, structured observation, and document analysis. Document analysis in terms of journals, studies, showings of the impacts of tourism on the specific impacts of tourism at the particular islands. So the interview format was in the 3 parts. The first part is operator's background. The second part is a chalet background, and the third part was chalet operation in terms of solid waste management, groundwater extraction, and sewage disposal management. Next. So these are the island. If you can see, the first picture is Tioman Island. Okay, on the left side, Tioman Island is a very big island. It consists of 75 tourism accommodation, which 9 is the resort, the rest is the chalet. So my case study is located at TC1, Tioman Chalet 1, Tioman Chalet 2, and Tioman Chalet 3. Tioman Chalet 1 located at Kampung Genting. Tioman Island consists of 9 villages. Okay, Tioman Chalet 2 is located at Kampung Air Batang, and Tioman Chalet 3 is located at Kampung Salang. So as for Perhentian Island, it's a 2 island. My case study is Perhentian Chalet 1, which is located at Pasir Panjang, Long Beach, and Perhentian Chalet 2 and 3 is located with, between Tanjung Genting to Tanjung Batu Locek. Okay, next. So as for the findings of the background of the chalet, the finding indicates that Tioman Islands have a bigger, chalets at the Tioman Island have a bigger land area compared to the Perhentian Island, because the Perhentian Island is a small island compared to the Perhentian Island is a small island compared to the Tioman Island. And most of the chalets are operating since 1980s and above until 1998. The units of chalets are indicating that Perhentian Island, even though it's a small island, but has higher numbers of chalet units. And all the tourism services are they are similar in terms of restaurant, dive center, rooms. They are giving the similar operation for both islands. Next. Okay, these are showing the pictures of the chalet. TC1, TC2, this is located at Tioman Island. So the first one is TC1 is located at Kampung Genting, TC2 at Kampung Air Batang, and TC3 at Kampung Salang. Okay, next. Perhentian Island, okay, the PC1 is located at the Long Beach. PC2 is located, PC2 and PC3 is located between the Tanjung Genting and Tanjung Locek. Next. From the findings and from the interview findings, I found out these are the basic operation of the chalets, which are in terms of sewage management. Okay, sewage management, they are using sock pit system and sewage septic tank system, because these management will indicate what type of impacts that they are causing to the natural environment. They have energy management using diesel generators, groundwater extraction using pump, boat maintenance and washing, laundry using washing machine, and solid waste management, they are doing burning, waste separation, and open pit dumping. As for this research, I'm going to focus on solid waste management, sewage management, and groundwater extraction, because these are the most important and pertinent findings from the pilot study. Next. So for the objective one, to identify chalet operation on the Tioman Island, I have made this into the table in terms of solid waste management, groundwater extraction, and sewage disposal. As we can see for the Tioman Island, most of the operators are collecting the garbage at the beach area, then will be picked up by the waste contractor. Usually papers and garden waste are burned and there is no waste separation, and this occurs for both Tioman and Perhentian Island. But what we can see from this table is Perhentian Island has the high amount of garbage produced because they have a lot of chalets compared to the Tioman Island. As for groundwater extraction, for the Tioman Island, water are extracted from the stream, and cooking and drinking water are for mineral waters. They did not adopt any water saving strategies similar to Perhentian Island. But the difference is at the Perhentian Island, the operators are taking water from the groundwater. So they don't have a lot of rivers or stream at the Perhentian Island. So majority of the operator are taking from the groundwater. Sewage disposal, both islands are using septic tank and sock pit system, but majority of them are using sock pit system. Okay, next. Okay, as we can see the findings in terms of solid waste management for objective 2, how to determine the negative impact caused by chalet operation on Tioman and Perhentian marine environment. As we know that Tioman Island operators in Tioman Island, they are conducting daily open burning of dry leaf, plastics, and paper. So there's no waste separation, and waste are always gathered on the beach. Okay, and bulky waste are buried in the open pit. So if waste are burned, they can produce various kind of dangerous gases such as furan, dioxin, monoxide gases that contribute to air pollution, global warming. Moreover, the waste on the beaches flows to the sea, causing marine organisms such as ingestion problem, injuries, and entanglement. Plastic reduced stomach capacity in the growth, cause internal injuries to the marine animals. And also, if the operators are burying their bulky waste, it caused the intrusion of heavy metal from the bulky waste into the island, groundwater from TVs, aircon, and fridge. So they cannot throw the bulky waste. The bulky waste are such as TVs, fridges, aircon, so they will bury in the soil. So from the findings, from the observation on the site for the Tioman Island, it indicates that all operators conduct open burning of dry waste. Okay. Observation also indicate that operators throw bulky waste in the open pit, such as inoperative TVs, air conditioners, used diesel oil. All the amount of garbage found on the beaches was excessive. The observation on Perhentian Island is a lot of garbage was seen at PC1 and PC2 beaches. According to PC2 operator, storm lasted few days ago, which enabled waste contractor to collect the garbage for several days, which caused the rough waves to drag all the pile up garbage into the sea. Amount of the garbage was seen on the beaches and the forest area was excessive. Next. Okay, so these are pictures evidence that are showing there's a lot of solid waste on the beaches. These three pictures are showing on the above is on Tioman Island. That a lot of operators just dump their bulky waste, their plastic bottles, and they do waste separation, but nobody's come and pick up. So it become nuisance at the beaches. And the three pictures down there is for Perhentian Island. We're showing that they are burning their waste daily, and they burn plastic, they burn boxes, mineral waters, and they throw their bulky waste at the forest area behind their chalet. Okay, next. Okay, finding in terms of groundwater extraction, usually for Tioman Island, water are taken from stream, and for Perhentian Island, water is taken from the ground-driven wells. Okay, so the impacts are overpumping of groundwater distort the natural recharge-discharge equilibrium process, which leads to seawater intrusion into the groundwater. High salinity concentration in the groundwater also affect the plant growth. the use of the sock pit system. Sock pit system is a sewerage system which is not efficient, which cause the seepage of sewage water into the groundwater. So the findings for the Tioman Island, all operators inform that the groundwater tastes brackish. So that means there's a high salinity content in the groundwater, so they cannot drink that water. According to Idris and Rahman, groundwater at TC2 and TC1 are contaminated with salt water and sewage water, according to the study. And as for Perhentian Island, all operators mentioned that their fruits and herbs trees are not growing well on the island, and most of the trees near the beach are taking longer time to grow. These are due to the high salinity in the groundwater. And according to Yap and Kahuru, groundwater from 5 stations at the chalet area contain high levels of E. coli bacteria, which exceeded the normal standard. Okay, next. Okay, these are showing the driven wells that used by the operators at the chalet. Next. Okay, in terms of sewage management, all the both islands are using sock pit system and septic tank system. Majority are using sock pit system, which are inefficient type of sewerage system. So this sewage water will seep through into the groundwater, will increase, and also the operator having a problem of overflow sewage water, what they do is they will discharge to the sea directly. So the sewage water directly into the sea water will increase the algae growth, which will kill the corals colony. Detergent destroy the external mucous layer that protect the fish from bacteria and parasite. Most fish will die when detergent concentration is higher. Sewage also increase invertebrata Diadema, urichin, and E. coli bacteria population, which are very harmful to humans and corals. So the findings shows that Rahman, Nur Saad, and Yunus findings show that nitrite and phosphate level at the Tioman groundwater is higher near the tourist accommodation area. And Research Malaysia study also indicate high level of E. coli bacteria at all stations of the groundwater. Reef Check Malaysia 2018 for Perhentian Island indicate average algae cover at Perhentian Island is higher for the past 5 years. And the PC operators inform that some operators on the island have less awareness regarding conserving and preserving the natural environment. They don't bother to maintain or upgrade their septic tanks. Even many do not have septic tanks. They just left their sewage soak or flow to the river, to the ground, or to the sea. Okay, next. Okay, these 3 pictures on above are showing the condition of water stream at Tioman Island. If you can see, all these streams are flowing to the Marine Park Sea, and it is in a very bad condition. It's black and it's full of contamination, algae, and everything. These are all near the chalets area. All the chalets are discharging their sewage water here. And the 3 pictures below are showing the condition at the Perhentian Island. The first coral pictures are showing the indication the algae bloom at the coral area, which is eventually killing is already killing the corals at Perhentian Island. The second picture showing that at the PC2 and PC3 area, that a lot of slimy green algae at the beaches. And the third picture showing the septic tank. The round septic tank is the sock pit system, which is an inefficient type of septic tank system. Okay, next. So the discussion is that we can see that the main issue of both islands are improper disposal and excessive production of solid waste. During the fieldwork, many garbage bags were seen on the beaches. Accumulation of garbage on the sea causing the causing all the problem to the marine life and animals. Okay, garbage left on the beaches for a few days produce leachate water that promotes algae growth. Okay, observation indicates slimy green coral patches along the beaches, especially at Perhentian Island. And all the operators will burn their dry waste daily or 3 times per week, they are burning the plastic bottle, boxes, and all sorts of waste. So the burning process produce various dangerous gases such as furan, and all these things are contributing to the global warming and acidification of seawater. Some operator buries various type of bulky waste. Overall findings indicate that Tioman and Perhentian Island are not clean. A lot of garbage and bulky waste was found at the beaches and in the at the forest area behind the chalet. Next. Impacts for groundwater extraction. In chalet on Tioman Island receive fresh water from stream, meanwhile chalets on Perhentian Island receive fresh water from groundwater. So majority impacts are on the Perhentian Island. Two operating activities which are recognized that are causing contamination, which are excessive extraction of groundwater and the use of soak pit system as a sewage system. So during the dry season, groundwater is slightly saline, less quantity compared to the monsoon season. So over pumping of the groundwater will change the natural recharge-discharge equilibrium process, will lead to seawater intrusion. Okay, so Perhentian Island operator agreed that their groundwater tastes brackish and not suitable for drinking anymore. Okay, next. For sewage management, sewage pollution has been identified one of the main issue. So because of the use of the soak pit system, the findings indicate the use of soak pit system is highest on the both island. So majority of operators are channeling their overflow soak pit water into the sea and the forest area. So the high amount of algae will kill the coral colony. Untreated sewage water contains organic matter, E. coli, bacteria, nitrite, and phosphate also are dangerous to the groundwater quality and seawater quality. So most of the stream observed on Tioman and Perhentian Islands are very polluted. Findings from several works of literature also confirm that Tioman and Perhentian Island seawater are polluted. Okay, next. So conclusion, this study was conducted in a short of time due to the limitation of budget and time. This study focuses on the on-site impacts rather than longitudinal impacts. Indicates that chalet on both islands have similar operation practices in the area of fresh water extraction, solid waste, and sewage management. The majority of operators are not conducting green operation practices, which leads to the detrimental impacts on the island marine ecological asset. So several recommendations are provided to improve the existing operation, and this study can be continued as in a bigger scale to identify cumulative negative impact caused by tourism accommodation on other Malaysian marine park islands. So next, the last one is the recommendation. Next. So the recommendation are in the three areas: sewage management. They can change to the use of efficient type of septic tanks, separate black and gray water system to avoid overloading of septic tank, use eco-friendly detergents, annual maintenance of that septic tank, sludge sewage water can be composting. For groundwater extraction, the operator can check water faucet and taps to prevent wastages, use of water efficient fixtures, use of dual flush water closets, set limits on the extraction of ground or hill water, watering plants early morning and late evening only, use the rainwater harvesting system rather than pumping groundwater, reminding guests about saving water through signages, maintenance of water pumps and water tanks yearly. As for solid waste management, position several recycling bins within the chalet area, conduct waste separation and recycling, gather waste further from beaches to avoid the waste to be flow to the sea, creatively reuse unwanted materials, buy goods in bulk to reduce plastic packaging, provide drinking water in dispenser to avoid plastic bottles, serve foods using permanent kitchenware, refill shampoo in the dispenser, compost leftover food. These are all the recommendation to become a green operation practices. Okay, next. These are the references, and next is thank you. I finish my presentation for today.
Okay, thank you. Also, the research is very sound. You have done a very good job. Actually, I would like to ask you, do you have any recommendations? But you have mentioned that very clearly. So I found you have done a very good research.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any guest in the room have anything to share with the presenter? Okay, then we move on the next one.
Hello, sorry, Prof. Dan. Can I ask
Okay.
a question? Okay.
Okay.
I'm Dr. Madia from UK. I would like to ask Prof. Zinatika, in terms of your case study, is there any parameter of selection of your case study? Why you choose Choman Island and Perhentian Island? Thank you.
Prof, I'm not so clear about the question. Can you please repeat the question?
My question is regarding the selection of your case study.
Okay.
So, is there any parameters why you select those case studies? Is there any research that you come about to choose Pulau Choman and Perhentian Island rather than other islands? Maybe you could share, why you chose those case studies.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Doctor. For this case study, I choose Tioman and Perhentian Island because these islands are only among other islands that have a lot of chalets. So usually people, because if we took a resort have a lot of proper septic tanks. They have a proper operation management compared to small chalets. That is the reason that I choose chalets to see how these chalets are impacting the environment, because the numbers of chalets are more compared to the resort. That's why a lot of chalets are located at Tioman, because Tioman has about 75 chalets and Perhentian has about 45 chalets. So that is the reason for choosing these two islands.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Okay.
Okay, we have to move on the next one, the last. Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you, Prof.
The last one is public awareness of heritage monuments, British pillbox in the Bangkok, Kelantan from aspect of heritage tourism.
Yeah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning.
Good morning.
I will go to my presentation.
Yes.
Okay, as you can see here, my title is the Public Awareness of Heritage Monuments, British Pillbox in Bachok, Kelantan, from aspect of heritage tourism. Okay. The British pillbox monuments was left during World War II in 1941. Okay, actually the British pillbox already damaged, but it attract the tourism. Okay, the objective for this research is to study the structure and emphasize community awareness. And there's a various method was used to achieve the objective. Okay, the first this monument can be economic resource and raise awareness of historical value as it's contribute to the formation of Malaysia. Okay. Okay, as you can see there, the map of British pillbox in Kelantan, but I focus on Bachok. There are 11 of pillbox in Kelantan, and the majority one. Okay. Monuments is architectural and sculpture, work or structure of an archaeological type with universal values that contain heritage history. This definition of monuments is defined by Heritage Act in 2005. Okay. For the methodology, firstly, I do a literature review to find the keywords of British pillbox, the random location. Okay, and then we go for observation, which include field study, photography, and measuring. For the field study, we do measuring and photography to documentation for the documentation for future generation. And then we also set the GPS for save the location in future. And then this is the result and discussion. From the field study, I can tell that there are 11 location of British pillbox, and also this is the coordinate for the pillbox, for the location of pillbox. Okay. And after after we measure the structure, I apply it into AutoCAD. Okay. This is for Kampung Je, Bachok, Kelantan. And this is K02 Kuala Rekang, also in Bachok, Kelantan. And this is pillbox for Kampung Anak Ru. And next one is K04 for Kampung Pantai Baru, also in Bachok. 5, Kampung Pantai Chap, and the last one is Kampung Pantai Tok Abah. Only 6 I can take the measurement because another pillbox already submerged into the sea. Okay. And this is for analysis respondent, include 100 participants. Okay, I can conclude that the majority, they are agree that this pillbox monuments can be one of heritage tourism attraction in Kelantan. Okay. And for the conclusion, this pillbox in Kelantan has a historic monument that must be preserved since it's proof the success of independent Malaysia. And this heritage monument can be the material in education and also can create the awareness in society in heritage. Okay. This research also recognition of the FRGS 2020 grant that entitled Pencirian Struktur Binaan Kubu Peperangan British di Negeri Kelantan untuk tujuan konservasi. Can I show some of project that we done for this?
Yes, please.
Okay. This is one of the project that we create to suggest for a state government to enhance the heritage tourism. Okay, wait. For your information, this is AR for British pillbox in Kampung Tok Burong in Bachok, Kelantan.
Okay.
Sorry, Hana, we couldn't see your slide. Your VR. Are you showing video?
Where?
Just now here on your slide. You share that slide.
Wait.
Are you going to show a video?
Yes, yes. This
Okay.
is the video of AR.
Yes.
British pillbox in Kampung Tok Burong. Okay. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. I think you have done a very good job for the documentation of the historic object. That's very important to preserve them. Okay, is there any question or sharing with the presenter?
Prof Heng, hello.
Yes.
Prof
Hello.
Heng, okay, can I say something?
Yes.
Hello, I'm Sarifa. Farhana, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hear me, Farhana?
I can hear you.
Yes, okay.
I can hear.
Farhana, actually, I am wide awake now. I am from Kelantan and I do not know about this pillbox.
Yeah.
Monument.
Actually, majority doesn't know about this pillbox actually exists in
I
Kelantan.
am not aware of this monument, existing at Pantai Bachok.
Yes, the majority of the pillbox exists in Bachok, Kelantan.
Yeah, but I've been to Bachok several times, but I do not know about these things.
Yeah.
So why is it that people like me are not aware of this?
Because this is the first research that we done.
Oh.
The first research, yeah.
Nobody has done. Nobody else has ever done
yes.
it before. Okay.
Yeah, the first this is the first research that done by a supervisor. It's about a British pillbox, and we're going to suggest to the state of government to promote this heritage monument actually.
Congratulations.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your answer. And thank you also for the question. Okay, we have done all the presentations for the session. Because the time is over the session, so we should close the session. And I hope to see you by the next conference. See you guys.